Thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. In speaking about the fields and the dimension and connection of the fields and how we interact with them, it brings a new dimension in further understanding of our what we call solar physicality. Is the interaction of the fields of every cell of the body of the man with each other, which creates a line of information in different dimensions and different strengths, that their interaction with the environment of the what the physical body lies or exists in creates that transfer of energy in or out. What this means is that we call it the aura, the film interaction of the field physicality of the body of the man and the atmosphere of its environment. But this environment, is the aura of the man the same when he swims in the water, or when he is in upper atmosphere, or when he is in a normal condition, an atmospheric condition, walking? Or is our aura totally different when we are in the deep in the mind? What fields do we receive? What fields do we give back? And how does these fields, in interacting and in a way in conjunction with the work of the soul of the man, central energy of the system, creates what emotion? We know, we understand that the inertia plays a huge role on how we, as body of the man or an animal, we change our features, we change our physical condition. And in that process, the interaction of the inertia with the soul of the man creates the emotion of the interaction of the environment. This is something that man has not understood, and in a coming time, we have to understand this, because this is the way we will react with the environment we live in. In a common language of today, we call it nationalism. Chinese are this way, Arabs are that way, Mexicans are this way. But what we haven't considered, this change, this behavior, this emotion, which creates the behavior, comes partially from, or mainly from, the interaction of the field of the inertia with the soul of the man. In a way, when we look at the condition of the interaction of the soul of the man and its environment, we have the soul of physicality, which interacts with what we call the body of the man with the soul of the man and creates a certain emotion. But when that's individuality, that's our character, that's our characteristics, that's how we feel, we create our emotion, and we show our reactions. But at the same time, the environment has its own interaction of the fields, which in combination are much stronger because we are attached to it through gravity. We live because of it on this planet, which interacts with the soul of the man, which that, in the language of the man, creates the what I call nationalism, environmental emotion and behavior. This does not alone stand on its own, because we see this in how man then interacts with that emotion in another dimension. in a way where both the emotion of the individual and the emotion of the environment mix together or interact together, and their interaction creates a common denominator. So that's why a nation behaves that way. We say the Chinese are this behavior, the Arabs are that behavior, because in that what we call nationalism with the nation, or what we call geographical environment, emotion creates its own interaction with the soul of the man. Because in the soul of physicality, you have to survive with what it is, with the interaction of the emotion of the physical body, what's in it with the soul. But the soul of the environment, what we call the inertial geographical dimension, has its own interaction with the soul, and at the same time has its own interaction with the soul of physicality. And this is what we see as races, behavior of a race, a creed. And once man understands this, once we become mature to understand our nationalism behavior, our geographical behavior is the same environmental, emotional condition which brings behavior or emotion towards a religion, towards certain groups, a football team. Because we, in a way, even our emotions have the dimension of their own interaction with the soul. So we get a Chinese, we get a British being a British, but they support certain football team. They are so attached to it. They show emotional, physical, everything else towards it in respect to the soul because of that emotion to it. But again, when that team, one or two players of it or whatever of that, what we call inertia, plays a national team, we move on to, we transfer the emotion off to. These condition environmental emotion in respect to what we call geographical positioning, field inertia, will play a huge role in man's emotion, in manifestation in the space, in transmutation. Because it's not just manifesting in the shape of the person in the environment, but understanding the culture connection too. In a way, you don't want to be a lamb and manifest yourself in the middle of a group of lions. Mistake, especially if they're hungry. So, man needs to understand the next step of communication, interaction, emotion, and, in a way, environmental, what we call emotion. If and when we go to that next step of the evolution, of transmutation, and understanding the process, we have no choice but to understand this principle. This is why in the teachings of the past, I explained to you, when you come, you manifest yourself, you speak the language. You understand the language. Now you understand the reason. Now you understand the principle. And how to create it is no use being the sole supporter of the opposition team in the middle of the very, what we call, strong-minded home team. Even though you might not agree with it, but you adopt to understand. You adopt in understanding, connecting to the fields of the emotion of the, what we call the opposition. You find balance to survive. You find balance to manifest. You find what we call a compromise. This is why there is no war in space. Man has not learned in the dimension of physicality to understand, to comprehend the emotion of compromise in shape, in language.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Your connection is breaking up for me there. Sorry.
Every other sense into in the sense of religion. Can you hear me?
Hello, try again. Yes.
Is it clear? Okay, we switched to another server.
Okay, thank you.
So this is important for us. Then, as I said, you understand the emotion of religion cannot exist with man in a space. Because men of space, majority of them, have reached to understand the process of creation. Have reached in intelligence to understand the working of the system. So you cannot be radical Jew, Muslim, or Christian and go to another planet and become mercenaries to expand the religion. You'll find out before even manifestation, you're isolated. Before manifestation, the fields of the soul of the man will not allow the manifestation. And as I always say, this is the reason why we don't see any churches, any synagogues, or any mosques in the space. And man has to solve this matter before it becomes a passenger of the universe. Maybe as an individual, maybe collectively. In that process, man needs to develop new technologies which can replicate the inertia of the environment, the inertia emotion of the what we call geographical condition, the manifestation of the fields of the emotion itself. Then man can become a true passenger of the universe. Man can truly understand that he has a soul of physicality which creates his physical emotion individual as a person. Then you have the emotion of the environment, geographical position. Then you have the other inertias, the field strength which makes you to belong to a specific organization, specific way of showing emotion. We see this clearly. For example, when you go to a match, a football match, 50, 60,000 people synchronize so precisely that you can hear the clear song they sing together. You get 5 people trying to sing a song. Does not happen. You get 50,000, they sing to the microsecond in tune because the soul interacts. This is a soul of the, what we call, maybe, as you call it, inertia of the common denominator emotion in respect to the name, to the flag, to the ground, to whatever we decide. We've seen this clearly in the recent past 3 or 4 years in Formula One, with one Dutchman carries the whole nation, and literally half of the ground is orange. It doesn't matter which country you go to. Wherever he sits behind the wheel, they appear, and he keeps on winning. Because the soul of the totality of the nation as a soul with him is part of the game, part of the interaction. Part of the common denominator is one wheel, one racer, and the whole lot sitting in there in common denominator soul. We see this in a different way with national football team. We see it with national sports games. Sports is one of the most, what we call, complicated ways to assess the man's emotion and his interaction with his soul. And the soul of physicality plays a major factor to interact with this emotion. As I said, is another senses. It's a sense which man didn't know. The sense is not just the smell and taste. This creates another sense for man, sense of emotion, understanding the interaction of the sense of the environment, individuality of the soul, soul of physicality, in a way, the collective work. And I said, man does not know about many senses which exist in the universe. You smell it, you say it's a tomato, you smell it, it's a dog. There, the sense of the emotion dictates the man how to react in the dimension of the soul, in the dimension of physicality, or as an energy. When man understands the sense of emotion and its principal work in the universe, is when man is not blind to the facts and the truth of where he goes, how he lives. In most of the cases in space, you lose the sense of sight. The taste is not there because you're not eating. So some of the senses we are used to on this planet is useless in the universe. We learn about new senses. We learn about new dimensions. We learn we have to, if we want to be the true member of the universal community, which we are part of it. Those who come from the space to Earth, we see them as what you call part of us, have already accepted that change to fit in. But they still carry that sense of emotion that dictates to them what it is, how it is. This is the next step in evolution of the science and technology for man. To understand the working, the pleasures, the function of the new senses. When you're in the dimension of the soul, you have no physicality, you have no eyes, but you still interact with the fields, create an emotion. That sense of emotion creates or dictates to you how to react into that environment. Manifest yourself, leave the place, use different field energies that it doesn't harm the others but allows you to exist. In principle, mankind needs to educate itself to a new dimensions of senses, knowledge of existence, collaboration and cooperation with the inertia of the environment. Not all inertias lead to creation, manifestation of physicality in the matter state. The inertia of the emotion, inertia of the senses are different, does not have material manifestation. Is energy in motion, is a magnetic field which is in the dimension of itself, according to the strength of interaction with the environment, decides how the way that sense of emotion will show man the dimension of existence and manifestation. Could be in an energy form, could be in a physical form, could be in a liquid form. Maybe some of you, in some cases, you have seen this. You see ball of lights in the space, in the environment of atmosphere, because the entity has a soul, but cannot find the dimension, feel the strength to inertial matter state to manifest itself as matter, so it stays in inertial lights. And we see it in different shape or form of light. But inside that light, there is a soul, there is a life, there is existence, there is a common denominator operation. We need to understand these processes. We need to be able to comprehend it without prejudice of human race, mental condition, that we can become part of the universal community, part of the universe, which we are part of this community, which we have denied ourselves due to our senses. No more damage is done to the man by the senses of vision and the sound, because we become so to rely on it that we have ignored everything else. We have found different ways of explaining the existence of this. Something happens, but we don't know. We call it the sixth sense and whatever. But you know now what the sixth sense is. It's you in your interaction with other emotions of the environment, the other souls, and everything else. Emotion of the sense is one of the main and most probably the most powerful tool for man to exist in space, to exist, to travel, to be able to survive. In totality, the future of mankind in space will totally depend on his adoption, his understanding how to adapt, and in understanding how to fit in with the field interaction of the place, time, and position in the universe. It does not matter in the middle of no planetary system, in the middle of the ocean, or on the surface of a planet. If you understand this, if you can comprehend it in a deeper way, if you create the essence of the love of the Creator, you can move, interact, emotion within the center of the soul of the Creator itself. There is no need for intermediaries. In what fields you come to understand, you release to interact, which decides your position in respect to your Creator. It's like loving the mother. The more love and care you show to the mother shows you, the more cuddle and kisses you get, the more inner emotion will change, how I feel about you, how I love you, and the rest of it. There's no difference between the mother and the Creator. One is in the dimension of physicality, one is in the dimension of emotion, of the fields. Otherwise, both are creators. One created you in the dimension of physicality, one has created the dimension of the soul of you within it. It's you who have to understand the essence of the soul of the emotion, sense of emotion, and the interaction with the others. And the more we carry on with this teaching, the more we go into the depth of it, especially in tomorrow's session with the knowledge seekers, we start this process. And in a point becomes to the point of detachment, because you're not attached to physical senses, you became attached, or you become attached to the what we call emotional senses. And some of these senses, some of these fields are so strong that man can decide, I do not want to return to the dimension of physicality, because the sense of physicality of the hunger, the taste, the sound, the noise, the eye, the sense of vision creates me so much pain. It's the day of judgment. It's the day when you judge which part of the creation and creation of the totality you want to be part of. Does this bring a new dimension to your life? Would this bring a dimension of individuality and totality, interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of physicality, with the soul of the environment, interaction with the soul of the man and the soul of physicality, and then we go to the next step, and then to the dimension of interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of his creator, which he himself is part of. We are preparing man to become not only a passenger of universe, but for him to accept that he always been part of the universal community. Not by changing man, but for man to understand does not need a change, it's just need to understand what he has denied himself. In the coming time, in the process of the teaching and understanding, many of you will go through the position and dimension of transmutation. Many of you will create that inertia that the others have the ability to reach the level of your understanding of the sense of emotions that they don't need to go through. If you go back to some of the teachings in the past, I explained even the new cycle of lives, the new interaction of the fields of the universe, which leads to creation of life, do not need to go through the same process as man has gone over billions of years to understand, to be intellectually developed to understand. We transfer the knowledge that at the point of inception of the first life on any point in the universe, this essence of sense of emotion exists. It's part of, and from there on, the same mistakes will not be made as has been made in the process of the evolution of the man. To become mature, we give a mature, what we call environment, to any life which starts at any point in the universe. Is how they tap into it, how they understand it, that they do not need to go through physical evolution of life and cycle. Understanding the sense of emotion, understanding the interaction of the fields of the sense of emotion in every dimension of the physical environment, geographical, solar, galaxies, and universes will all be all as one, is an integrated system. Depends which level you want to move further into, that you can go further up to. The more you understand about the inner sanctums of the creation's information and knowledge and work, the more parts of the universe shall be open up to you, because you understand how it's created. You're in the center of. The job of universal teachers is not just to teach alphabet, is to teach, to enlighten man to understand the process of creation, their own creation, and in that creation, how to interact with other souls, with other fields, interactions that leads to a peaceful coexistence in the universal community, and not the animal life or the physical condition of the man on this planet. We see a solution in pushing man forward in one dimension and one direction. Unification to field forces of one nation. This I will explain to you. In a way, is the harshest way, but it's the shortest way for us to achieve what we want to do. Bringing for you to understand the sense of the emotion of one geography, one field force, one understanding, instead of working with inertia, to work with the soul of the planet itself. Find direction and dimension, soul of essence of the emotion of interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of the planet, which then allows man to find position and distance gap what we call magnetic field strength positioning. This knowledge has been hidden from man because he chose to hide it. This knowledge is part of the knowledge embedded within the soul of the man and within the dimension of physicality of the man. So if you understand this, man can even live within the center of the sun. As his fields are part of that process. His fields are part of the creation of the essence of his origin in this planetary system, in this solar system, because in essence it came from it. The knowledge is hidden by man to himself, but is not hidden by his creator, the soul of the interaction of the fields of this solar system, the sun, the creator. Now you understand what is ahead and what needs to be done for man to understand the essence of the new senses of the emotion of the man. Not only in a physical condition, but in respect to his environment, his interaction with the totality which makes that environment. As I said in the last teaching, energy is magnetic fields in motion. In the universe, we don't have energy as eating the running things to create that energy is not in motion of the physicality. You tap into the fields which are available in the universe as part of what you need, and you cannot take more than one is needed. The whole process of understanding the new senses will allow you to be able to go through the transfer and transmutation and freely and comfortably fall to becoming, to understand, to become part of what we call universal passages of transmutation. You transmute when you understand field forces of the creation, and you transfer when you understand field force of the manifestation of physicality. I hope as knowledge seekers, you understand the knowledge more. I hope as knowledge seekers, you understand the totality of the existence a little bit more. And I hope one day mankind will be kind to himself to understand what kind of a man he wants to be in the space. Man in the dimension of physicality and what I call limited life as it's on this planet, or man as a mankind to tap into the understanding of the creation, the world of the creator, and live the everlasting life. That it can be part of to give and not part to take. Today's teaching is very short, but it has a lot of meaning. And if you understand this, and if you understood this, you already have started becoming a passenger of the universe, a transmuter. But then you have to understand how you use these new senses. The emotion of physicality in the interaction with the emotion of the what we call the soul of the man creates the face of the man. And in interaction with the soul of its mother, which is the feeder of the creator of the environment for that life to live, gives the physical manifestation shape and figure. And then you understand how the next level works in respect to the fields of the soul of the man and his creator. in a way, the way the teaching goes, the way the process of understanding is, there is no way but for us to bring man gradually to understand the ways you live in the space. How to look for energies that allows the soul to survive, that it can identify it by itself in the dimension of physicality, and at the same time keep the integrity of the knowledge to one zone. I hope you understood this. And I hope my biggest wish is once you understand this, using the sense of the emotion of the creation, man will walk away from the religions and with all the conflicts they have created. We go for a break, we come back and try to answer any questions. But please remember, you are in charge of that sense. You're in charge of the new sense of emotion, which you always denied. Test it, learn from it, understand it, and teach it.